Okay, let's solve the problem for George Munoz. Over here. Oh. All right. So let's read together. And remember, we're going to use green for income, blue for investment, and purple for tax shields. So starting with green, let's go. George Munoz, owner of Munoz Meats, is interested in a new project that will produce specialty microwave meat products. The project is estimated to last 5 years, so we got to circle that. And I want to do that with a pen. Before MMP's competitors will eliminate the competitive advantage. Okay, so MMP's microwave meat project is expected to generate pre-tax revenue. So that's going to be highlighted. Revenues pre-tax, green. And expenses in the first year, and then those are expected to grow. They're both going to grow at 3%. Okay, so then the initial cost of the machinery. So this is the initial investment, capital spending, initial cost, right? That's going to be the investment. That's blue. And then we're going to sell it at the end of the project. So that's the salvage, all in blue. Now I do not mention the depreciation rate, but I did say in class that you would use the 7-year schedule. So I'm just going to write that in. No. And that's just like the UAIR, those numbers from the UAIR project, 7 years. Meat inventories will have to be increased immediately. Inventory, that's also investment. Inventories will have to be increased immediately by 450,000 and will have to remain at the higher level until the project is completed, at which time they will return to pre-project levels. I'll highlight the whole thing. So we're going to have to build the new networking capital table ourselves with only one row. There's no other information. Just the next piece, no other information on networking capital investment. We're just going to go back to income with the side effect. So this is a side effect. This is going to be income. It's going to decrease sales of regular meat products. So other projects of the firms are impacted in a negative way. It's a negative side effect. You can have positive side effect. You can have a negative side effect. This is a negative one. And then you have some more details about the tax rate. I guess I can circle that. And the cost of capital, that's the required rate of return for the firm. Okay, we got to get the NPV and then interpret the result. Okay. So we're going to work with our order as usual. I can hide this pre-7. Just remember that it's 7 year. Okay, and then we begin, right? So PV, part 1, PV income. So what goes into income? Into income, we have net revenue and after tax, right? So we're going to use 1.2 million, these figures, minus 300,000. And we're told about a growing annuity. So the growing annuity formula would be I, which is 17, minus G, which is 0.3, and then the adjustment factor, 1 point, sorry, let me go back, 1 plus G, so 1.03 on the top, and then the discount rate on the bottom to the power of the number of years of the project, because this is going to happen in every year. And what's missing is the after-tax bit. So that's that, and that's a positive. We can simplify that to punch it in our calculator, but I'll do that in a moment. Let's first take care of the other component, this one here, the side effect. The side effect is negative, so I'm going to use a negative sign, and it's going to be a regular annuity of $350,000 with the discount rate and the adjustment factor to 5 years after tax, right? So to punch that in, I'm going to make some simplifications first. So this is 900,000. And this is 14%. And what else? We can always call this 0.6 here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and punch it in. I'll use storage keys as well. Let me move this down a little. So I want to put the final answer at the top. So let's put that here. All right, got it. Take a picture before I change screen. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my calculator to punch it in. We're going to punch in inside the bracket 1.03 divided by 1.17 equals to the power of 5 equals negative plus 1 equals. Okay, so that's the adjustment factor times 900,000, 9 and 5 zeros, divided by the bottom, which is 0.14. That's 3 million. So I'm going to store that in 1. I'm going to do the second piece and store that as well, and then subtract them. So I'll store every piece, every part, every step. Okay, so that's 3 million. Let's do it again. 1.03 divided by 1.17 equals to the power 5 equals negative plus, did something wrong, 1.03 divided by 1.17 equals to the power of 5 equals negative plus 1 times 900,000 divided by 0.14. Okay, so that's store 2. I'm just going to make sure it's exactly the same number it is. All right, so that's store 1. All right, let's do the second part. The second part is just the annuity of 350,000. Oh, wait, I didn't finish. I have to multiply by 0.6. So multiply by 0.6. Did it work? Yeah, multiply by 0.6. I'm going to store that in 1. Did that work? Recall 2 times 0.6. No, it didn't work. Okay, it didn't record what I wrote. Okay, sorry. I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to recall. I'm just going to use this one that I stored and times by 0.6 and store that in 1. Okay, so it's 3 million. After tax is 1.8 million. I have that stored. Let's do the next part. $350,000 annuity. So that's going to be for 5 years. So 5 in N, interest is 17, payment is 350,000, 0 in FV, compute PV. It's a negative, like I want to actually subtract. So now I'm going to times that by 0.6 times 0.6. And I'm going to store that in 2, but I'm going to change the sign. I don't know. You guys can do what you want, but I'm going to change the sign because I'm going to subtract it after. So that's the first part, 1.8 million, and the second part is side effect of 671. So the income is still going to be positive. So I'm going to pause and put these numbers on my iPad before I continue. Okay, so that's showing you the results, store 1, store 2. I'm going to subtract this from this, and I get, for income, 1,145,785 and 66 cents. I'm going to store that in 3. It's already stored. All right, so that is going to be a positive revenue. Does that look weird? Let me clean this up a bit. Let me do that again. 1 million. Having trouble seeing in the dark, sorry. Dark right now. Right. All right. Next part. This would be investment. For investment in the blue, we have the initial investment. So let's write out what we have to do. We have to get the present value of all the parts, right? So initial cost. Then we can add in or put together the net working capital, investment cash flows. Oh, I should move that down. And we should get the PV of that. And then we have to do the PV of the salvage effect. All right. So the initial cost is easy. That is 2.2 million. So 2.2 million, and it is a negative because it's an investment. Negative cash flow. And then net working capital investment cash flows, we're told that $450,000 is needed immediately for inventories, and then it's going to stay there. So let's write up just one row of net working capital required for year 0, so year 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Should make that bigger. I'm gonna do that again. Make them a little more spread out. 2, 3, 4, and 5. No, that's too spread out. One more time. 1, 2, 3, there, 4, 5. And we need $450,000 worth of inventory, and it stays there. 450,000, 450,000, 450,000, 450,000. And then what happens? Last year is 0. Okay. All right. So we still have to do the 3 steps. That's the first step, was putting them all together, and that's all we had to put. Now we want the net working capital changes for the incremental effect. So it's 450,000. And then we subtract what we need in year 1 minus what we already have from year 0. So we don't need anything. And we don't need anything in year 2. And we don't need anything in year 3. No additional investment in year 4. However, in year 5, we're releasing the capital back to the firm. So this is going to be a negative 450,000. So we get the money, the value back. So what we have is inventory, and when it gets used up, we restock it. We make sure we have 450,000 at the end of every year, except the 5th year where we release the inventory back to the firm. Okay, so now from the perspective of the firm, because this was just from the perspective of the project and what we needed, but from the perspective of the firm, these are investment figures. So net working capital, investment, cash flows are a negative 450,000. Again, 0, 0, 0, 0, and a positive 450,000. Remember, because the firm is the one that's evaluating the project. Okay, so we get our money back or the value back, but it's delayed, and it's delayed, and so it's going to be worth less. So we need to put that together. All right, so we have the numbers there. Might as well go ahead and calculate the NPV of that. I'm gonna, well, maybe we still need to read a little bit. Let me just move this up. So NPV is equal to 0 plus I don't know if it's confusing, but okay, it's in the 0 that, no, we don't do 0 plus because that's the year, 0 year, sorry. All right, sorry. So this is negative 450, so this is the initial investment. And then in the last year, we are going to recover $450,000. And that's going to be at 1.17 to the 5. All right, so we can enter this into our CF keys. Just don't forget that in those intermediate years, 4 years of zeros. So you can put frequency 4 when you enter the zeros. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to pause and do that, or maybe I'll show you. Okay, I'll do it together. We'll do it together. And then I'll enter the value. Okay. So let's do that now, and then we'll go to side effect. Okay, so I hit the CF key, and the initial investment is $450,000. Enter down. The next one, oh, I have something in there. I better clear work first. Okay, starting over. 450,000. Enter down, and then it's 0. Enter down for 4 periods. Enter down, and then 450,000 comes back in the 5th year. Enter down, and that's it. So then I ask for NPV. I have to put in the interest rate, discount rate, the cost of capital, the required rate of return, enter down, and compute NPV. All right, so, where am I going to store that? I lost track of my stores. I have store 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is going to be store 4. I'm going to do it again just to make sure I've done it properly. Take a picture of it. So that's going to go into store 4. So let's try that again. Let's go to CF. Let's clear work. Let's put 450, enter down, and then 0, enter down, and 4 of them enter down. And now we're at the 5th year, so it's 450,000 positive, enter down, one of those, and NPV, enter 17, and compute. Okay, so that's it. All right, so I'm going to pause and put those numbers down. I'll get back to you in a second. All right, so I did make a mistake by not putting a negative, sorry, on my CF key. So this has to be negative, enter down. Sorry about that. And then everything else is the same. So I'm still going to hit NPV 17 and recompute. There you go. That's my networking capital investment. I'm going to store that in 4. Okay. All right. So I've put down the amount and I've put it in storage 4. And then I'm going to add it here because it'll be adding a negative anyway. However you want to do it. I'm just going to leave it like that. And I'm going to add it when I calculate my final answer. But I have one more piece. That last piece is the salvage effect. Now, to calculate the salvage effect, I need the book value. So I need to prepare that table to calculate that. So I think we're pretty much done, right? So I'm going to, yeah, so I'm done with the question. I'm just going to put the table over here. Is that a good idea? Is there enough room? Okay, let's do that. So the table is going to include year, and then little d and big D, and then UCC, and then tax shields, which are TCD, or in our case, 0.4 times the D. We start in year 1 because we need a year for depreciation to take effect. And let's get those rates. I think I have them over here. So the depreciation rates from the makers table. Let's get those rates. Give me a second. Should have memorized them by now, right? Okay, so here are the rates. Now to calculate the depreciation amount, how much you're going to claim is calculated by the rate D times the initial cost. So 2.2 million. All right. And so let's do that. So 0.143 times 2.2 and 5 zeros is equal to 314,600. I'm going to store, oh, I don't have too much space, so I guess I'll just have to put them back in my calculator. Okay, so then 0.245 times 2,200,000 is 539, and then 175 times 2.2 million is 385,000, and then 0.125 times 2,200,000 is it's pretty long, 175,000, and finally 0.089 times 2.2 million is 195,800. And now we're going to subtract starting with the initial cost again. So 2250, oh, let's do it. I'll just tell you, there's no room. So I have to take the original amount and subtract this depreciation, account for this depreciated amount, and put the number here, and then continue. Take the ending UCC and subtract all the way down. The last one will be our book value. So I'm just going to do this in Excel. Okay, so the results will be 1,885,400. I don't know, why does that seem wrong? Oh, okay, that's why. Okay, so 188, oh, sorry, 1,885,400. And then the next one is 1,346,400. And then 961,400. And then 686,400. And then 490,600. Let me just verify. Yeah, okay. Those are our numbers, and this is our book value. So now we are going to be able to sell the asset. Oh, gotta go back and see that number. We're going to sell the asset if you go back and read for $550,000. So we're going to sell. So this is the book value. The salvage value is $550,000. Salvage value. Okay. And we're going to be selling it for more than it's worth. So we got to pay taxes on that. Okay, that's a profit. That's, yeah, it's a profit basically. We have to pay taxes on. So let's put in the expression down here, I think, and then we'll move it up. We'll put it up. Let's do, so we have to do the PV of the salvage effect, right? So maybe we can, I'll do the whole thing. I think it's better. So we're going to write, remember the formula, right? Salvage value plus, so that's what you're going to get for selling it, and then the after-tax effect, and we want to do the PV of that. That's everything we have to do. Okay, so I'm just going to put the numbers. I'm so torn. Okay, so let's do salvage value is the 550,000. The tax rate is 0.4. Book value is 490. 600 minus 550. And then this all happens in year 5. So whatever this is, we have to discount by 1.17 to the power 5. Okay. So let's simplify. This amount okay, so 490 minus 550 is a negative, of course, times 0.4. Okay. And then I'm going to add 550. And you need to practice on your own. Don't use Excel because you can't use that during the test. So you got to practice doing this on your own. Anyway, so putting all of this together, I'm going to do it one more time. I get in total, well, I'll do it in pieces. I'll do it in pieces. So 490 600 minus 550 equals. So this is going to be, that's like 60,000, right? So I have 49, it's like approximately. So negative 59, 400. And then after tax is 23,760, and then add 550,000. Okay, so it's 526. So it just reduces your, what you make on the sale to 526, 240. And then I divide by 1.17 to the 5. I'm just concerned about the space. And leave all those and make this storage 5. So storage 5. I need to put that on the calculator, don't I? Okay. So anyway, maybe I'll show it all to you. So I got to put it in the calculator. So let's do 490. Wonder if I missed that. Okay, so 490, 600. Okay, 490. Oh. Minus 550 equals Yeah, I did that right. Times 0.4 equals plus 550 equals 526. And now I'm going to divide that by 1.17 to the power 5. If you're having trouble getting my answers, see me, right? Because it means that you have not set up your calculator with order of operations. And I need to help you with that. So see me about not getting the right answers. So I'm going to store that in 5. And it's a positive because I make money from the sale, even though I have to pay some taxes. Okay. All right, so that's all done. And now what? We're going to add recall 5. So I'm going to take the initial investment. I'm going to add in the networking capital investment cash flows and then add in the salvage effect. And what do we get? Okay, so 2, 2, 2, and 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus, negative, sorry, negative. It's the investment. Plus recall 4 plus recall 5. It's a negative, right? Because this is the investment. So we're going to transfer that number. We got a little bit for the sale. So that is going to be stored as 6. Actually, I should do that first. So store 6. So investment is equal to present value of investment is equal to this amount. Negative 2,204,726,049, whatever, store 6. All right, and the last part is the tax shield. So we've done part 1, part 2. We're going to add 3 and 6, but let's check the tax shield. So far, it looks like we're operating at a loss. So are we going to be able to make up the extra $1 million with tax shields? These are small numbers, hey? So maybe not. So let's try that. We have to take each of these and multiply them by 0.4 and then put those into an NPV expression and calculate present value of them. So I'm going to pause, put up the numbers, not torture you by going slow. All right. I lost my image. There. Okay, so what we got to do is enter those values. So I calculated them aside and I put them here. 125,840. Sorry, it's so small. It's so much glare. Let's make that bigger. The next one is 215. Then 154. And then 110. and 78,320. All right, so then the last thing to do is make an expression and get the NPV, store it, and add it with the rest. Okay, so here you go. That's my NPV expression. I'm going to put this into the CF keys and store 7. Okay, so I'm going to go, oh, sorry, yes, here. I'm going to go to CF and clear work and put everything in here. Remember, the first one is a 0. So it's going to go 0, enter, because we need 1 year to depreciate, right? So then 125,840, enter, down, down, and then 215,600, enter, down, down, and 154,000, enter, down, down, 110,000, enter, down, down, and 78,320, enter, down, down. Hit the NPV, enter the interest rate 17%, and compute. And that's what I get. Just going to double check that. Okay, looks good. So I'm going to store that in 7. It's a positive. It's not enough. This is going to be a negative NPV project. I'm going to put that here. Well, whatever. I don't want to write it twice, but okay. So 455,631 and 474 and blah blah blah. Store 7, and I'm just going to say store 7, or just write it again. Trying to be consistent. 474, store 7. All right, so then all I have to do is add those together, but it will be a negative. So recall 3. So I'm going to write the final step. NPV equals 1 plus 2 plus 3. You don't have to rewrite it all, just write the final answer. So I'm going to do, well, I'll write it here. Recall 3 plus recall 6 plus recall 7. And if we want to get the exact number, so did I store this? So recall 3 plus recall 6 plus, let me get rid of that empty. So recall 3 plus recall 6 plus recall 7 is big negative. So 603,000, which I pretty much knew was going to be negative, but let's get the exact number, because I asked for the exact number, right? Okay, so putting it all together, we get negative 603,308. This is less than 0, so we reject the project. If you find any issues with my solutions, please let me know. I've done my best here, but I could still have made a mistake. Okay, so keep in touch. I'm going to do the last one. I'm going to do the last problem next, and you're going to have to wait for that one. This is taking me much longer than I ever intended. Okay, I'll be back.